The Reserve Bank of India's Monetary Policy Panel is set to meet on the 2nd of April for its two-day policy meeting and is expected to announce its rate decision on the 4th of April. And as growth concerns weigh, the clamour for a rate cut is growing. In fact, 4 out of 5 members of the CNBC TV18's Citizens Monetary Policy Panel have voted in favour of a cut ahead of the RBI's rate decision next week.
First, that question to you, Sajid, the cut or pause, and if it's a cut, how much?
25 basis point cut in our view.
Okay. All right. Okay. We need to see your board as well. Samiran, what are you expecting?
25 basis
25 basis rate cut. Okay. Sonal?
Yeah, 25 basis point rate cut.
Okay. Fine. Soumya, what are you expecting?
We're expecting a 25
basis cut. Okay. Chairman, sir, would you disagree?
Yes, I would.
Yes. Okay. Well, the chairman has a reputation of calling the market, calling the MPC right in the past, even when he is in a minority. Sajid, how many rate cuts are you expecting through 2019, counting April? 25, 50, 75?
Yes, including April, it would be 25 at most 50 basis points.
Okay. Well, Samiran?
It's 50.
50 basis. So April and one more cut. Sonal?
Yeah, 50 basis points.
50 and one more cut in the future. Soumya?
50 BPS, but with a possibility of an upward bias if growth doesn't pick up.
But you are expecting the 50 to come on April itself?
That will depend on the rate stance.
Okay.
So that's an...
Dr. Sen, how much of a rate, how many basis points will rates fall in 2019? 50 basis. Okay, there is unanimity over here that a half a percentage point rate cut through 2019. Only on April 4th itself, 4:1, the expectation is of a 25 basis cut.
Right, with that we move on to the latest in the Essar Steel case. The insolvent company's lenders are considering a payment of additional 1,000 crore rupees to operational creditors. Ritu Singh joins in with the details. Ritu?
That's right. After much deliberation, the lenders of Essar Steel have agreed to vote on a proposal to allot an additional 1,000 crore rupees funds to the operational creditors of Essar Steel, and which will be in addition to 196 crore rupees that has been offered by ArcelorMittal in its resolution plan, which means the total payment to the operational creditors against their dues of 4,700 crore rupees will now be 1,196 crore rupees, subject to the voting outcome of the Committee of Creditors. Now, this additional 1,000 crore rupees will come from the working capital adjustment, which means the lenders will still be able to make about 92% recovery as originally envisaged. But as far as Standard Chartered is concerned, the lenders are very clear that they do not want to pay Standard Chartered any more than 60 crore rupees, which was originally part of the resolution plan, and they plan to move the Supreme Court, if required, over the treatment of Standard Chartered, arguing that it will be paid as per the security that it has against that loan of 3,500 crore rupees that it has given. Now, both of these resolutions will be put to vote by the Essar Steel Committee of Creditors starting Friday, and the voting will last for 24 hours.
Thanks a lot, Ritu, for that. Now let's move on. CNBC TV18 news break is confirmed. Insurance regulator IRDAI's board has given its nod to life insurance product regulations, and Yash Jain joins us with all the details. Yash, take us through the fine print.
Some very crucial amendments approved as far as the board meeting today is concerned in the life insurance space. To start with, the insurance regulator IRDAI has allowed insurance companies to charge additional or extra premium to policy holders who wish to buy a rider or a top-up over and above an existing ULIP or unit-linked policy which they have. Currently, of course, if anyone wants to buy a rider or a top-up, unit-linked units are deducted from his account against that particular rider or top-up. Apart from that, of course, what we are given to understand is that insurance companies have also been allowed to do away with the provision of minimum capital guarantee under certain segments where they have to commit a particular return to their policy holders. That has been done away with. Essentially, this will allow insurance companies to diversify their investments more into equities, less into debt, so on and so forth. Right now, of course, they tend to invest more into debt in lieu of that fixed return, which again they have to return to their policyholders. Also, one important thing, insurance regulator IRDA has allowed a partial withdrawal of up to 25% when it comes to pension segments, pension plans. Of course, there is no partial withdrawal which is allowed at the moment. Last but not the least, what we are given to understand is that insurance regulator has also allowed conversion of 60% of annuity amount from the time when it's converted into annuity from investments in NPS and so forth. Essentially, this currently stands at 1/3 is what we are given to understand, which has been raised to 60% will be allowed to get converted into annuity. This is as far as product regulations in the life insurance space is concerned. But one very important approval, business approval, which has come in, which we had spoken to you and told you in January, is that IRDA has approved Indiabulls Integrated Services insurance plan, general insurance plan, given them the first approval, which is R1. Just to talk about the company will start its business with about 100 crore of initial capital. The parent company, which is Indiabulls Integrated Services, will keep 500 crores as reserved for funding of this general insurance business.
All right, we'll watch that space, but Eicher Motors, that's the stock will be on our radar as Bank of America Merrill Lynch has downgraded the stock. Sonia's here with the details. Sonia, for the first time, there's some stress for Royal Enfield.
Yes, in fact, that's the reason for the downgrade. The fact that, dealer inventory levels have risen quite a bit for the first time for Royal Enfield. In fact, they've downgraded the target price to 19,000 versus 26,000 earlier. They say the channel checks indicate that dealer inventory levels have risen by almost 20 to 30%. In fact, same-store sales growth has fallen by 20 to 30% versus a year-to-date growth of Royal Enfield of around 3% or so. So there's a lot of stress. They've also downgraded they've reduced their margin targets for the next year, their EPS estimates as well. They say that given the situation of weak demand, in all likelihood, Royal Enfield will have to raise dealer margins, will have to come out with further discount schemes, and that will put pressure on margins over the next few quarters. So they've lowered their EBITDA margin estimate to 27.8% for FY21 versus 30.6% that Eicher has seen in FY19. They've also lowered the FY20 EPS by about 11% and FY21 EPS by about 13%. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Sonia. So the stress in the auto sector continues, but one sector that was in focus yesterday as well and did pretty well was the IT sector, and today again it will be in focus on the back of strong earnings from Accenture. Rima joins us with the highlights. Hi Rima, good morning.
Hi Sonal, good morning. Yes, while the stress in auto may continue, the strength in IT also seems to continue. So Accenture reported their numbers yesterday. The stock was up more than 5% in trade. The numbers beat estimates. The company's up the full year estimates. So it bodes well for the Indian IT companies. So on the Q2 numbers, the company reported a 9% year-on-year constant currency growth, which is at the top end of their guidance of 6 to 8%. The full year constant currency guidance has been raised by 50 basis points to 6.5% to 8.5%, and the organic guidance stands at 5 to 7%. One negative in the number was the fact that the financial services performance was muted with only a 2% growth. Insurance continues to do well, but the company saw a degrowth in the banking and capital markets. But that the company said, they expect the trend to reverse, and they're quite optimistic on financial services in the second half of the financial year. The big positive was the strong order booking. I think it's at a record level. The new order booking stood at $11.8 billion, which compares with $10.2 billion in the prior quarter. It compares with $10.3 billion in the year ago. 65% of the new orders have come in from the digital space. On the macros, Accenture was the first one to caution about potentially slowing macros. So here they say that the guidance bakes in an impact of a potential slowdown of the economy, but clients continue to focus on digitization despite the fast pace of disruption and despite the uncertainty, and client budgets are growing but at a slightly lower clip. So they continue their cautious stance on the macros, but if you purely look at the numbers and the kind of order wins Accenture has reported, very strong numbers coming in, and that bodes well for the Indian IT. CLSA says overall a strong broad-based growth is positive for the Indian IT services, and the softness in financial services appears to be company-specific. Back to you.
All right, Rima, thanks a lot for that. London's Westminster Court is set to hear the PNB scam accused Nirav Modi's bail plea today. The enforcement director has already sent its team to seek his extradition to India. Remember, Nirav Modi has now spent 10 days in jail. Sanjay Suri is here with the details. Sanjay, what can we expect? Will Nirav Modi get bail?
The first question in court today will be whether Nirav Modi can get bail. He has spent 10 nights in jail already after he was denied bail in an unusual order. The manner of arrest itself was unusual, coming in a police swoop on him when he went to a bank in London for a transaction. It is more usual to have a formal arrest by appointment in an extradition case. The manner of arrest and the refusal of bail point to a strong police suspicion that he may have been planning to flee. If he does get bail today, the terms could be stringent. The last offer of £500,000 in security was refused by court. There could now be an offer of additional security. The court can also impose other restrictions that could include a regular attendance at a police station or even electronic tagging, besides, of course, a strict watch at courts. We are also likely to see first steps towards a case management hearing where the course of the hearings in the extradition case itself would be set out.
All right, we'll keep tracking that developing story, but now it's time for a break. Up next, we'll get your check on the cues to watch in the derivative space.